Greg, what have you been finding out then this week? You've obviously been all over this for the entire week. How did it all come about? What's been going on?
Yeah, it's been a quick turnaround, really. We knew that Rangers, the first team players, weren't training this week anyway. They're typically given most international breaks off, so it was a quiet place up in Glasgow. Steven Gerrard was down in London for other affairs, personal business as well, and I think some of his business was tied up a little bit earlier through various meetings with Christian Purslow, with the owners, and they thrashed out a deal quite quickly. Really, it's not heard of these days anymore that a manager is sacked like that and then replaced very quickly. And okay, look, I think we'd be naive to say that the owners were not considering sacking Dean Smith and then finding somebody else. But it was, something that really accelerated over the weekend. It wasn't as if they were thinking, right, we're going to do this and we need to start planning in advance. It was something that sort of turned over the weekend. So fair play to these guys. That they know what they're doing, they know what they want, and they seem to be getting the business done quickly and efficiently.
Did Gerrard always want this job, or did he take some persuasion, or are you not privy to that information?
I think when Aston Villa come calling and everything is laid on the table, look, it's not about money for Steven Gerrard, but obviously he's getting a pay rise. That'll appeal to him. But it's more about the fact that he's coming to the Premier League and he's going to test himself again. He's what people in the industry have called. People who played with him, played alongside him and against him, they've called him a competitive animal. To me, in recent days, multiple people have told me that, and he's somebody that desperately wants the challenge. He absolutely, genuinely buzzes off the adrenaline, and there aren't many players in Liverpool's history that have had that amount of pressure on them to go and deliver, and he's had to carry the weight of Anfield almost on his back at times when he was a player. And he moved up to Glasgow, and we all know the high pressure environment that it is up there. It's Rangers or Celtic, and if you don't win, then there's immense scrutiny. And he delivered a title for the first time in a decade, which was really impressive. So he gets a kick out of being under pressure and delivering. And speaking to people that know the Aston Villa owners very well. They've said to me that Steven Gerrard will come in and he'll be under immense pressure straight away to deliver. But it's somebody who will really thrive off that.
Yeah, and he's box office as well, isn't he, Holly? I mean, he's not far into his managerial career, a relative rookie, having only managed one club. I think he's been at Rangers 3 and a bit seasons now, I think it was. But just because of who he is, that does bring a certain level of excitement. It probably brings a certain level of scrutiny as well, but it also probably makes Villa a bit more of interest to the wider world because of who he is.
Yeah, I think he definitely has a lot of kind of power just within his name. So like you've said, I think there'll be more eyes on Villa now just because of people who are fans of Steven Gerrard and fans of the legacy he left at Liverpool. I think his time at Rangers makes it exciting that he's coming over now, and kind of like Greg said, he thrives off of kind of that competitive environment. 125 wins out of 193 at Rangers, which is an impressive record to have. So I think Gerrard will kind of, like Greg said, thrive under the pressure and want to make his mark as early as possible, which is why it's so exciting that he's at a club like Villa that will provide that support that he wants and needs when kind of stepping out into the big wide world that is the Premier League as a manager.
Yeah, we all loved Dean Smith, Greg. I think we can all agree on that, and we were sad to see him go. Can you just talk us through a little bit of what Steven Gerrard will bring that's different to Dean Smith? We probably can't go too much into tactics and stuff because obviously we don't know what he's going to do. But what do you think having Steven Gerrard at the helm? What's the major difference for Villa there? How does that help Villa?
Well, look, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way to Dean Smith because he was an exceptionally good coach and did very, very good things at the club. But what the players will look at, the majority of these players will know. They'll all know Steven Gerrard, and they'll know what he was like as a player, and they'll know that competitive edge. Some of them would have played against him. So it's a case of somebody who comes in with real respect and authority. They want to learn. They will want to learn off a new voice. First and foremost, he will bring a very strong support team of experience and creativity in the way that they work. And what I just think he'll bring. Look, the players need a fresh voice sometimes. We'll get to learn more about what Steven Gerrard, the coach, is like at Aston Villa in time. But for now, those players are going to be. It's going to be completely different for them. They're going to be expected to meet really high standards very early on, and everything could be flipped around. Whereas they probably would have got a little bit comfortable under Dean Smith, because that's just natural. If you get used to your boss for so long, you know what works for him, what doesn't, what you can and can't get away with. This will be a completely clean slate for everybody. And that admittedly that would be the same if anybody come in, but we know that Gerrard is going to demand these really, really high standards.
Was there anyone else considered at all, Greg? Or was it pretty much Steven Gerrard from day one that they wanted?
Well, I did say this over the weekend that Gerrard was the leading candidate, and we kind of ruled out others throughout the week. But Villa insist that they went through a selection process, that they were working, through multiple candidates and checking them out. But I just think that the way they've got this done really quickly, that they've had to go through some serious. Some serious interviews in almost record time if they were going through a long list. So I think they pretty much knew what they were doing, and they had their eyes on their man, and they've got him now.
Yeah, there's no one better to sort out Villa's central midfield problem, Holly, is there? One of the best midfielders, arguably the best midfielder there's been in Premier League history.
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing I'm most excited about. Villa's midfield has not been quite up to scratch as to what it was last season. And John McGinn is definitely one of my favourite Villa players. And I'm excited to see how he especially kind of takes that role and holds the midfield better. And, Douglas Luiz, I'm sure, is just as excited to have Gerrard as his new manager. And I think some of the youth players as well will really benefit him. Jacob Ramsey's already flying high in the kind of first team and making his mark. So I think if anyone's to do it, it's kind of Steven Gerrard to kind of at the very least fix the central midfield and then kind of hopefully build around that and become a more unified team again, because let's be honest, the last few games Villa haven't looked unified at all. So it's definitely the most exciting part about Steven Gerrard coming into the role.
Yeah, and Greg, I've done a lot of TV and radio stuff today, and the one thing that you can guarantee you'll get asked every single time, I know you've done bits and pieces today as well, is the Liverpool connection. Is it just a stepping stone to go to Liverpool? And I've got to say, I've not really got a problem with the Liverpool links, because if he does well at Villa and he goes to Liverpool, then that's fine. It means he must have done very well, because you don't, even whoever you are, you don't just get that job off the back of being a household name and being a club legend. He'll have had to have done something, won't he, something tangible to get that job. And also, it's kind of the circle of life for football, because if Liverpool come and get Gerrard from us, it's exactly what we've just done to Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've summed it up perfectly. I've been asked that question quite a few times this week, certainly today, and I've answered it in a very similar way, because that's simply what it is. If Liverpool come calling for him, it means he's done something well at Villa. Whether that means taking them into the top half again for the first time in 10 years. Fantastic if he could win a trophy, wouldn't it, for the first time in 25 years, or even take them back into, the top six. That would show that this appointment was justified. There was a reason to sack Dean Smith. There was a reason to go all in on Gerrard and bring him over here. One thing I would say, though, is just if Villa do progress at the speed that these owners want them to, what we'll probably see is a difficulty for other clubs to take him away, because it's my understanding that following Jack Grealish's move to Manchester City in the summer, Villa were very, very keen to start structuring contracts in a way that protected them a lot more, rather than the players holding all the power. They feel like the way the club is going, they want to hold the power over them. So it'll be interesting to see if ever that day does come where Gerrard's done fantastically well for Villa and Liverpool are interested, just how difficult it will be to get him out of the club.